In the end, it took less than 30 years for the world as we know it to fall. 95% of the population died. There were a litany of causes, not that it mattered in the end. Our infrastructure failed, and with no electricity, our communications, lights, and internet failed too. There weren't even enough survivors left to tend the fields and care for the remaining livestock. As if any of us had any of the necessary skills. Those few of us who remained barricaded ourselves into makeshift fortresses, although we had no idea what we thought we were hiding from. To paraphrase that ass T.S. Eliot, not with a bang, but with a whimper, the world ended. Almost. In the late 2050s, the builders ended the crisis by combining biology, precision mechanics, and thermohydraulics to make constructs from the dead, human and otherwise. These automatons took up all the necessary repetitive tasks that keep us alive. The constructs follow algorithms and programmable, mindless cycles. The dead of all species have taken the place of slaves, and like those slaves, they have become the basis on which our recovery and our economy grow. They are everywhere. As humans, we have lost almost everything. But we do have what humanity has always had. We have hope.
Oh, hello, hello, hello. Thank you for your patience. This is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin, and these wonderful people have agreed to come and play a game with me tonight, and that makes me very, very happy. These amazing people are Bison underscore Stonefist. Go first.
All
Got
right.
your links ready? Oh, look at you.
I'm working
look
on
at
it.
you.
That's in the wrong order. I am Bison Stonefist. You can generally find me here. I am a regular contributor. I'm currently on the Wednesday night game as Linus Longshadow, and they're here. And in the next upcoming weeks, I will be running a Cyberpunk Red campaign on this channel. I'm super excited. We will start with the character creation live. That'll be great. I've never done it before. It'll be fine.
It's Cyberpunk. It's complicated. It's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, and that's my Twitch channel.
When
I remember to, if we have games that, if we ever cancel a game, I'll usually stream games
Wonderful.
on my channel at the same time. So
thank you very much. Next, let's go to Thunderscape 7. Robin, hello. Where can we find you? What do you do?
You can find me hanging around here or on the Discord, just chatting and lurking. But I also do art sometimes, and sometimes I remember to post it. I haven't yet, but it's on the list. On the list to happen one day. Post things back, but life happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, most of the time I'm just hanging around here.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you for mentioning the Discord. An incredibly and wondrously supportive place. Come play with us. We are friends first and gamers second. And we really mean that here. It isn't just a thing. Next, let's go with Wayward Knight.
Hi, I'm Wayward Knight. I don't have Twitch up tonight.
It's all good.
So I can't put my links in the chat, but I'm either Wayward Knight or Wayward Knighted on most social media, and I am an actor and artist in the Detroit area. Support your local and small artist friends. You can find, I sell my art on TeePublic under Wayward Knight, so Google that, it's fun. I also don't lurk on the Discord. I'm very active on the Discord.
Allergic to lurking.
And that's me.
And I'm just going to quickly mention that if anybody...
Oh, wait.
Oh, go. Yeah, you got into one more thing. Yeah, you're right. Do a thing.
I was literally just thinking that too. I will be DMing
Mhm.
the upcoming premiere of our Grave New World
Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer campaign this Monday,
Yeah.
if I get my internet back.
Yes. Perfect segue, because anybody who has noticed that the camera there is a little bit jumpy coming from Delilah, that is because, in spite of the fact that they have no internet, they have managed to struggle together a phone-based communication system and got here anyway. That is
Crap, I forgot to plug my phone in.
Yeah, okay. So, thank
Hold
you.
up.
We'll see you in a minute, which is the perfect crossover time to go to Phil. Thank you for joining us. What are you up to?
I am the complete opposite. I am not a local artist or an unlocal artist. I am no artist of all. I also lurk.
Can't even draw.
You do
Yes,
lurk.
I can't
yeah.
even draw.
Yeah.
I also lurk. I can't draw 2 lines together. It's too much for my brain. Yeah,
That's a lie, and
I
I defy
lurk
you to
around
tell
a
me
lot of
otherwise.
places. So if you're active in a community, I might be lurking in there. So
You also run an offline game.
yes,
yeah.
I run offline game, and I'm a part of 3 other,
Yeah.
well, 2 other non-running games. Well, not. I don't
Not
run 2
streamed.
other games
Yes.
that are
but
also
you're
not
in.
streamed.
But you're in many, many games. So yeah.
Yes.
It is so hard to get you people to just go, I do all these amazing things. Here's all the amazing things I do. It's like, tell us about this one. Tell us about that one. Anyway.
Kev has me at gunpoint. That's the only
That's
reason
the
why.
only reason.
Sure threat.
And now I will blurb for briefly about the Dirty 20. We are coming up to being, if everybody and all the ducks are in a row, in a week, 7 nights a week, starting basically this week. So every night of the week between 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific time, 9 to 11 Eastern time. Pop in. If you do not see us here, that just means that particular night we weren't able to stream. But tune in the next night and we will almost certainly be here. Different GMs, different games, different players, different systems. Great fun. Speaking of fun, let's get to this foolishness. We're using Roll20 for our virtual tabletop of choice. The character art was done using Hero Forge. The background art is from Pixabay, manipulated by Thunderscape 7, and with certain modifications made by me. Let's start. I don't know if I ever started a game like this. When last we left our characters, there was only 2 of them. So that's as long as that lasted. There was only friggin' 2 of them. And they, in the face of world-changing events, with decisions hanging in the air, the world looking on, like crane shots and droid cams and everything, just watching to see what happens next. You guys decided to go rescue Puppy.
Side quests.
Yes, for Lost Dog, for the reward of a good meal. So you went and you met Stacy and Stacy's mom, Christina. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She
I'll
got
wait.
it going on.
Yeah. She's, you tell me. You've met her. But you met them. It was explained to you that the dog ran away and last seen near the port. But you guys know if the dog ceased to be, it's probably a construct by now. But you took off to do due diligence anyway. You got to the edge of the port to discover big locked doors, many things, and then the howl, that unique howl of the basset hound that you're looking for. And then a sharp whistle, and then further off into the port on the other side of these huge doors. So what do you do?
You said the port doors were all boarded up, eh?
Yep. The big ones are. There's smaller sort of access ports. They're boarded up too, but
Do the smaller ones look like they might be less sort of watched?
none of them appear to be watched. Like if you look up at the walls around the doors, there's no guards up there. But the difference I think would be the level of boredness. The big door is got big beams and it's a lot. They've spent a lot of time working at it. The little human-sized doors are basically, like, you know what they always put up to keep the zombies out, like 3 pieces of 2x4.
Like
Yeah,
slab.
yeah. It's basically that. So those would be easy to get through.
I'm gonna look at Sid and just say breaking and entering.
Is it really breaking and entering if it's public property?
Sid stands with his giant hammer leaning on his shoulder.
It's government
And then
property,
in the back of
but-
his head, he's like, "It's starting to sound like that's like Damasi."
Whatever. I want to get the dog back, so we have to go into the port anyway. Look for what did Verite want? Like metal or something?
GM.
This is what happens when your note taker wasn't here. You are looking for the pure samples at the assayer's office that they use to determine how pure imported metals used to be. You want those. Verite wants those so he can test them with copper to figure out which ones and which acids make for the best batteries or batteries. So he needs those samples, and then he also needs the acid and the voltmeter. He didn't call it that, but that's what he needs. And those are in the Citadel. You'd have to steal them from the Citadel. He can help to some degree, but they're in 2 places too. The acids in the basement in the storeroom, and the other ones in the voltmeters in the museum.
Oof.
And those 3 elements are what he
Okay,
needs to move forwards with batteries. Yeah.
So
You gotta break into
brain's dead,
work
so,
and
like,
steal
I want to be
stuff.
like picking the boards, but like I don't know if Delilah would do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you might not have to. Sid, I think, is pretty much working himself up to it. I imagine that hammer on her shoulders going dung 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 goodbye to the house.
well, yeah, it wouldn't be too much to
no.
pretty much have it set
Yeah.
to smash a board or 2.
Oh, it's absolutely nothing to break in. Like I said, it's not a big. It's not the physical element of breaking in that we're dealing with here.
But instead of actually smashing, what he does is he sets the other side, which has a wedge on it.
Mm-hmm.
He sets that in,
Yeah.
and with the
Gronk.
vibration, it
Gronk. Yeah, basically pry him
sort
off.
of pulls it out, so that the boards aren't wrecked.
Yeah.
So if they need to cover their tracks, they can do so without difficulty.
So do you? This is a dumb reason for asking. Do you just like undo one side of each and leave them hanging by the door frame, or do you take all 3 pieces off and put them like on the ground by the door, or
I
take
would
them
like
with
to
you?
do
Or
the former, but I've worked enough with wood to know that would be fucking impossible.
it would be
They just-
challenging. I'm willing to give it to you if you
they
want to do it
just go
for
like this.
yeah. But
I'm
I'm willing to give you the Bugs Bunny choice. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, he'd
Take
set
them
them
down and
aside.
put them there. Okay. And you looked on the door handle itself. Looks like it used to be quite nice. This is probably used to be an office door. And then now that you're closer and you kind of look with the light hitting it at a flat angle, you can see there used to be windows that are filled in with brick. This used to be the front of an office, like it used to be the public face of the port. And it has been totally all but bricked up. You turn the handle, this beautiful bronze handle. As you turn it, you kind of knock the crud off of it, and it starts to kind of glint under your hand. Click, like it opens like the door of a Rolls Royce, right? As a clunk,
Yeah.
and it swings open. Even if all this time it's been ages,
wow.
the hinge is just whiff. The only resistance is from the dirt and dust on the other side, because there's no floor, there's
So,
no
like-
office. It's just open space.
Sid tests the door a few times,
Whiff, whiff,
Hmm.
whiff, whiff. Yeah.
opens it up.
Mm. And yeah, there's no office. You're not inside. It's that the door opens into the port. Every building that was in here is gone, razed. You can see the outlines on the floor again, like Time Team. I'm gonna make another Time Team reference. It just looks like rubble walls, like just the pattern. You can see where everything was,
Yeah.
but it's all
So
gone.
is there
right to the ground.
ground?
It's all dirt.
Okay.
It's
So we're not
grass.
going to walk into
They
a void.
reduced it
No.
to the foundation.
They reduced it to the foundations. They filled in the foundation, the basements. They put topsoil on top and planted. There's lush grass in here. There's not flower beds. There's just like randomly spread wildflowers like they would grow. In the middle of it, the things that they couldn't tear down. The gigantic metal cranes that used to unload the ships. The actual concrete dock itself that's like a quarter of a mile long, 400 meters long. That stuff is all still there. And you can see other things where they were able to break it partway down. Like there's a water tower. They got the top off of it and got it down to about 10 feet, but it looks like they just gave up. So there's just this, like the 4 legs and a little bit of bracing. But everywhere they could,
More legs of David.
covered in grass. Yeah.
Yeah, more like
Yeah. Legs of shell, because those used to be oil tanks. Yeah.
right.
Legs of mobile.
Mhm. Yeah. In the near distance, I love that phrase because it's so ambiguous. It's exactly as far away as you need it to be. The abs of David. Yeah, you find that laying in an alley somewhere, just from there to there. Thank you.
One of the builders has the package.
yeah. Of course they do. Yeah.
Just sitting on a bookshelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, do not do it. Okay, back to this. I could 20 minutes on that, easy. But let's go back to this. You can, in the near distance, there's used to be a channel that just let water through. It's only sort of 10 or 15 feet wide. You can see the abutments where there used to be a metal bridge, and there isn't anymore. Somebody's built one of those little curvy wooden bridges with the cute little railings, and beyond.
Oh, like those like ornamental bridges.
Yeah, it's only just wide enough to walk on. It's not big enough for a cart or anything. And beyond it, as you look, you can see turf roofs, but they're real turf roofs. They're alive. Like they're growing grass on the roof. It's not thatch.
Oh,
So people actually live here.
You can see them in the distance. They look like roundhouses. They've got the wattle and daub walls, so that you drive in posts and you weave the other posts in and you slap mud and manure on both sides, let it dry and paint it. On top of that, they usually do thatch, but it is possible to build a wooden frame, put dirt on that, topsoil on that, and then plant on top of that. It's actually all but waterproof. I steal from myself just as much as I steal from everybody else, Robin. Yeah. So yes, that's what you guys see. You can't see any people from here because of like the bridge and the intervening stuff, but you can just see the roofs and just a little bit of the wattle wall, just enough to figure out that they're basically like Bronze Age level houses.
Can I poke my head in enough to like see if there are like government appointed guards or anything?
There is nobody visible. But as to guards and whatnot, you kind of look to both sides. There's no trails, there's no paths, there's no, like, guards leave a path, right? Because they walk a route. There's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, even the feel in here. How many hearts do you have in your hand?
One.
Just one? Okay, that's enough. It feels very calm in here. Like you can almost feel it like a pressure change. This tension behind you of Florence, and in front of you, it's almost yielding. It's so gentle and calm in here.
I Delilah
almost
looks at Sid,
magical. Yeah.
and then looks into the port, and she steps inside or outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking of Wonko the Sane from
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Scintilogy? Is that 5? It's a trilogy in 5 parts, was how he referred to it.
Saga.
But yeah, yeah.
After 3, it's a
Wonko,
saga.
Wonko the Sane, who built himself an area outside the asylum, the inside out house. Yeah. So yeah, you step into the dirt. Sid, follow?
Yeah, Sid
Dark
does.
grass. It's lush.
He's
Yeah.
really surprised at the houses. He expected nobody to live out here.
Mm-hmm.
He puts away the hammer,
Mm-hmm.
like not like sets it on his belt. He actually like puts it in his I want to call it a saddlebag, but
I know
that's
what
not
you mean.
correct.
Yeah, it's like
his side tote.
yeah, it's whatever the equivalent of sheathing it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man purse.
How many clubs do each of you have?
I have a single club.
Okay.
I have none.
None. Okay. Perfect. Sid, you notice this isn't, I mean, it's natural, like it's grass and plants and flowers and stuff, but this is maintained. Like not like a level of the traditional Japanese gardens where it's micro managed, but
Sid's level of maintain.
yes,
Kind of like his
this
front
is
garden.
like this was planted on purpose in certain places. The trees are providing shade for certain plants. It's intentional that it looks this natural.
That's not stepping on anything important then. As he makes his way around the wildflowers and
Pick it his way
tries
through the
not to-
field. Delilah, Sid, big tough Sid, mustache of ultimate manliness, hammer of doom hanging from his belt, picking his way through a field of wildflowers.
I wonder what has been Delilah's exposure to like wild things,
The natural
to, like,
beauties of the
plants,
world.
to-
I will give you.
Yeah.
I don't often say things that are very definite, but sweet fuck all is exactly how much pretty much all of you have an experience of truly wild situations. This still isn't, but it's the 10 feet around you has more green, has 9.8 feet more greenery than all of Florence does. There's one little section of Florence called the Park, right beside the Citadel, and your level isn't allowed in it. It's the executive lunching area for the builders. So there is zero access to greenery inside Florence.
it's for the corpos. I mean, wrong genre.
Yeah. You realize
Totally
that,
the right
and you
genre.
hear ahead of you just across the bridge the sound of a happy hound. And we're going to leave you here there for a second. Artemis, I want to do this in this order. You wake up in the morning because you went to bed at the leaving. You got Verite in the basement and your young person coming over early on to learn more. Carol, yeah. How many diamonds do you have in your hand currently?
How many
This is
do I
all.
have?
This is all the things we've done so far, and none of it's in the book. None of
One.
it's official system stuff. One. Okay. You sleep in a little past when you planned to.
I mean, that makes sense. So
Yeah,
they
you
had
just
a busy
that's
day.
you were tired, but you kind of wake up and you can hear voices downstairs. I'm assuming because you said you sleep on the second floor, right?
Yes, I believe that's where.
And
the rooms are.
you had him under the stairs, and
No, he was up on the second floor as well.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's really weird because you hear two voices, one male, one female, downstairs.
She'll go check it out.
Did you go like you spoke? Like,
Well, I mean, it's no, she'll like it's her house, so she's assuming like there's like two people that would be in theory in her house in the
yes.
morning, unless like her
Hmm.
brother broke in.
How many
Which
clubs have you got in your hand? I love this game. Even though we're not, none of
well,
this is in the rules. Is how many you got?
I have two clubs.
Two. Perfect. 2 successes. You could succeed in identifying both voices, Verite and Carol,
Okay,
chatting
and she'll
downstairs.
like I imagine the night before she like, changed out of her scrap smelling clothes
Yep.
and like took care of her leg and like
Mhm.
so she's like, in cleanish, as clean as it gets for her, clothes, and just goes down.
You walk downstairs. You see that your living room, because I know you said there wasn't much stuff here. Like, it's a nice house, but you didn't have much stuff in it, right?
It's mostly just like, art stuff if there's anything.
Everything in your main hall has been shoved against the walls. It's a huge open space in the middle of the room. And right in the middle of it is Verite, Carol, and a chessboard. And they're huddled over it, talking to each other. You can see on the chessboard Verite people, little pawns and kings and stuff. And when you want them to move, you heat them up, and then you put them down on that spot, and that triggers them to do their thing, and they'll actually attack other little miniatures and knock them over, and like combat chess, right? Except real physical little steam-powered minis. All the way up one side, one of Carol's arms is a similar-looking structure. All those little tiny tubes and joints and weird, complicated, flexy things. You see, it's all the way over the back of one hand as she reaches out to heat up one of her pieces, all the way up to almost the shoulder.
Like it's artificial?
Yeah, it's built.
Okay.
It's around. Like it's not in.
Yeah, okay.
But it's like an open mesh. But it's all those little tiny tubes and stuff. Yeah, the pneumatic devices.
What are they talking about?
How sneaky do you want to be?
I'm
going to make you make a play if you want to actually sneak up.
I mean, no, she's just kind of standing in the doorway.
Okay. Yeah, okay. You hear them muttering, first of all, you hear her say, well, of course you can't concentrate with all that stuff around you. He's like, oh, yeah, I see what you mean. You're very easy to talk to. And she's like, yeah. No, I mean, you really can't concentrate with that mess that you had. I see, this is amazing. Look, you did this in 2 hours. And he's like, thank you very much. It's very nice of you to say so. It's your move. She's just continuously complimenting him on his skills. She has somehow talked him out of the closet, down the stairs, and out into the middle of this room, which one of them is cleared, and it wasn't Verite. Right? I mean, let's be clear, right? So, yeah. He looks like a newborn baby. Like he's still sort of curled up in this huge open space. It's way too much for him, but so you can see he's just focused on the board visually, and mentally he's having the conversation. His whole world is right here. He does not sense you in any way, shape, or form. Carol's got her back to you. It's not so easy to read.
She's not going to be trying to be sneaky, but she's going to go into the kitchen and get some coffee.
Yeah,
because she's like, I am still tired.
Yep. And you come back in the room, and you see Carol makes a move, puts one of the pieces down, it crawls across, knocks over a bishop. She reaches over and grabs the bishop and puts it in her hand, like this. And Verite reaches over and makes a couple minor adjustments, and then heats it up, and it goes and joins into the structure up here by her shoulder. And she goes, and he's, I'm sorry, we should stop. And she's like, no, it goes away. And as she flexes, you can see underneath that piping, she's got like, it's not even first degree, just like it got really hot, right? Because it's steam powered. all these tiny
Mhm.
tubes. And she's standing there with your steam coming off of your coffee or
Yeah,
whatever it
she's
is that
just
you're
gonna watch
drinking.
for a little.
She's got
She's just gonna
dishwasher
watch.
hands.
Like,
Yeah. And they play a little more, and he takes a piece, and that piece and walks back out and just walks over and sits beside him as a dead piece in the game. So there's a complicated set of rules going on here, and you're not even quite sure what they're playing for. But about the fourth time that this same piece, they're basically trading pieces. So this piece goes on, burns her a little bit, comes off, goes on, burns her a little bit, comes off. The fourth time it sits down there and burns, you realize, she goes and kind of turns away for a second because it's the same spot 4 times. Damn it! And she's trying to play chess. She's trying to focus, and she turns. She sees you, and she goes, "Oh, hi, good morning. Oh, is that coffee?"
yeah. Are you? What's going on there?
I'm winning a prototype.
A prototype in what?
I'm gonna be a great big one of those. And she points down at the chess pieces.
A metal individual?
Once we can figure out insulation, insulation to keep it from burning me.
Uh-huh.
But look, before it hurt too much, look what I did. And you point out, one of the reasons the room's been cleared is because there's kind of a pile of broken shit of increasing hardnesses, sort of like a little results from experiments sitting in a row. So first,
Little shit's working on a power fist.
basically, yes. First, the first thing they broke was, a little wooden. None of it's your stuff. They've gone outside and
Mhm.
found garbage, but they broke a piece of banister, and then they broke something, and then they bent some metal 5 or 6 times until it broke, and you can see that they're just testing the strength going up and up and up, and it's ludicrous. And you kind of look down, but there's you look down now, and there's a pattern. Not burned again. I don't want to be that guy, but there's a pattern of tender spots on her arm where this thing lays over her. Yeah, we need insulation.
Let me get you something for those spots. And she'll go grab some.
Yeah.
I'm imagining she has some burn cream or something because she works with stuff from the scrap
Oh,
all
yeah.
the time. So I
Yeah.
imagine she burns the hell out of herself all the time.
So they start, slowly working it down and off of their arm in one piece. It's kind of like removing armor, but the other way around because it's got fingers. So you have to pull it off like a glove and then work it all down. They're doing that. Meanwhile, Verite is grabbing up all the remaining pieces on the board and the board itself. And he kind of stops for a second, and then he unfolds the wooden board, turns the board over and puts the remaining pieces in the spots they're supposed to go, and then closes the board again and closes it, and then stands up and walks over to a little table in the corner of the room, puts it down, and makes sure it's centered. And then just before he leaves, he reaches down and pushes it just a tiny bit off center, and then comes back and sits down in the middle of the floor.
Good morning, Verite.
Good morning. Oh, and he pulls a note out of his pocket. Did you sleep well? Question.
As well as can be expected. Did you?
And he starts flipping through the little booklet that he's got, and Carol just walks past and just boink, just takes it out of his hand and walks away. And he's like, I did sleep well. And he kind of looks shocked that he was able to answer without his notes.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you were able to sleep well.
Is the whole world this big? And he looked around first to make sure that Carol was out of earshot. You got the cards. Yeah. He's desperately trying to impress her but he is so out of his zone of comfort that he just doesn't. He hasn't even got a reference to what's really going on.
A lot of it is, and Artemis will like get up from where she had sat down, and she will grab like a blanket and like put it around him,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, I don't know, like not quite covering him fully, but like as an option.
Yeah, there's just this little head sticking out now, looking around, and you can see the look on his face. He looks over here, like, you know, for you and I, it's just the other side of the room. You could see in his eyes that's the end of the world far away. Like, this room is too big and too empty, but he's being so brave because that girl over there is so cute. And yeah.
Well, thank you for entertaining Carol while I was asleep.
I burned her.
She doesn't seem to mind.
And you could see his brain just pings off of that. Like, that's just not something I want to think about. But we got to get insulation. But you guys had a... Were you going to go back to the scrap for me?
We will be. I think we were also going to go to the port for the tester for the battery.
The port's where the metal is. All the metals in the assayer's office. Assayer's office. They have all the pure metals in there. You can bring them to me and I can make batteries out of them and see which one is the best. But I also need the acid from the Citadel and the voltmeter tester thing from the museum.
Yes, and I think we were still going to do that for you. I believe the acids from the Citadel will be tricky. That's not really my department, but we're still helping you, Verite.
Okay. And he kind of looking around to see where Carol is. Do you play chess?
I mean, I'm not amazing at it, but I have played chess, yes.
You want to see how I make the pieces?
Of course.
And Carol comes back in, and of course, it sounds like you hear it in stereo. One of them's your voice, the other voice is Carol standing right behind you, looking over your shoulder. And that's where we'll cut away from you. Coas. You off doing Coas things, searching things out, finding out information. But I know one of the things that you were thinking of doing was looking into your little friend, Thomas. Yes. And his apparent lack of parental units. So, how do you go about doing this?
I'm gonna ask some of my contacts around the militia to see if they have heard of any people living in that building or that area, and what their status might be, or if there's been any cases coming from that building either.
Well, this is absolutely a cop thing. So you can do. We'll call it. This is an investigation. So that's your gear, right? You have the investigative kit. I know it's kind of weird using stuff from your kit to do this, but that's kind of how just shows how that it takes time, basically, right? But basically, what I'm saying is you have to make a play to see how much you learn. But
this could also be.
Convince me.
There's two things. One, it could be bureaucratic process.
Yes. Yep. Very good. That's automatic, right?
So with the knowledge of the scientific bureaucracy concerning permits and special forms, they can make a request to requisition personnel or equipment in order to fulfill their duties.
Okay. What does your official written request ask for?
The official.
This is the problem here. It has to be
like,
who does it name? Who does it blame? Where does this go?
Gois would like, upon following up on, well, I didn't think about this.
He's looking through the ceiling. That's how hard he's thinking.
Yeah. Upon following up on the case that was thought to be closed,
Yeah.
the one with the kind of missing museum artifacts.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the missing artifacts was sold, and was sold to the occupants of the house.
Brilliant. Look at that. The look on your face when it came to you is
So it was sold to the occupants of the house,
Yes,
and by
perfect.
getting information on who owns the place and who lives there, I can see who sold it to them.
Yep.
Obviously, that's a ghost trail, but they
You
don't
can
know that.
here's that is so good. I'm so glad you came to that conclusion after working this hard, because it kind of gives you all the information you should need. Because you see, it is traceable back to that house. You start looking at things that have been shipped to that house before. It's regular. It's like every second day there's something going there of value. Like there's paint and buildings materials and all kinds of weird manner of stuff. In fact, in the last couple of weeks, there's been a bit more art supplies, lights, lanterns, picture frames. All kinds of arty stuff in the last couple of weeks, but it's all being delivered to that place. It's all delivered as zero contact delivery. So they just show up, drop it off on the door and leave. It's all prepaid. There's no personal contact. Even the account was set up through messages. But there's a lot of stuff going to that house.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going to the house. That's somewhat good news. But I would like to try to follow the trail to see where this payment is coming from. Sure,
Okay.
It might be coming from a letter.
Yep.
However, obviously letters don't appear out of thin air.
Nope.
Someone has to be mailing these letters.
You start tracing that back. The company itself receives payment for all these deliveries, and all the deliveries, the items themselves appear to be paid for in gold coins. To be specific, Krugerrands from the ex-Republic of South America or South Africa. The ones that are never supposed to leave the country. I only know that because I was in a stupid movie. But they're huge. They're the biggest gold coin that I knew the name of. They're massive. And that's somebody at that house is using those to pay for a lot of shit. Because remember, gold and copper in this world are important, not because they're it's gold, but because they're excellent conductors and very malleable and very useful.
Okay. Krugerrands. All right. And I'm assuming that's where the trail would probably end, as in like they don't know where these letters are being shipped from.
No. Somebody is spending a lot of these Krugerrands to make it difficult for you to follow where they're coming from too. It's like they got the equivalent of a physical VPN, right? You're just getting, everything comes from a different address, but you just know it's all connected.
A second follow-up question then with that information.
Yep.
Has there been, and I'm going to do some like research onto this.
Yeah.
Has there been has anyone ever heard of anyone else using Krugerrands within the last 10 years? Or
You've been in, since the time that you've been in the militia, like a large amount of gold would be like a Roman coin, and by the time they were this big. They're tiny. These things are over an ounce each of pure 24 karat gold.
Letters are obviously, letters do they ever come into the city, or a lot of the time, like, has there ever been case of mail coming from outside the city? I'm assuming no, right? Because there's the kind of
There's
idea that travel is
there's essentially no trade. There's very limited trade. The traders that do come through are escorted by groups of technophants from city to city, so they're very, very rare. There hasn't been one in a couple of years. So yeah, other than that, everything would be from in the city. Although there is some material comes in through the port as well. It doesn't, and now that you mention it, that's always been a little weird because it just appears outside the port on the street. You see the boat come in, and a couple hours later, the stuff just appears out in the city.
Okay, so we got a mysterious source of cougar ants, which, according to Kevin's facts, apparently never left.
Yeah.
Not supposed to leave South Africa.
Yep. And chat was like, chat was like, what's a South Africa? Remember, it's only been 30, 40 years, right, since the fall. So, yeah. But yes.
So somehow these cougar ants get their way from South Africa to Florence.
Yep.
And they've been in here for quite. The person who has them are still in the city.
Yes.
That's the conclusions I'm making here.
Yep.
So I just have to find the cougar ants. I find the people.
Yep. And about 3 or 4 months ago, the types of things that were being purchased sort of changed. That's the only other fact.
They changed from what would they originally?
More practical stuff to more arty stuff.
Artsy stuff.
Before the art robbery.
All right. So, and by the art robbery, you mean the one talking about Thomas?
The one you busted Thomas for, yes.
Okay, so Thomas is in contact. Well, I mean, I kind of figured that, but maybe Thomas. Okay, I got an idea.
Okay.
So whenever it's my turn, I'd like to visit Thomas.
Oh yeah, we're not done yet. We got to do this. Yeah. So you head up to the house. It's the only place you know where he is, right? As you get there to the yard where you normally do, you step over the fence again where you normally do. And out of that same tree, you hear, "Hey!"
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, same tree, same trick.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised to see you out here. I thought you'd be in there kind of reading away.
I'm waiting for my eyes to adjust.
What do you mean by adjust?
Well, it's just inside where it's fairly light. And I need to be able to really, really see in the dark.
Why do you need to really see in the dark if you're inside with the light?
Because I'm not inside with the light. I'm going to steal something.
Thomas, what did I say?
Oh, no, I'm flat out stealing this. Somebody lives in the house.
Wait, why?
I said house. I probably should have said Citadel.
Citadel?
Yeah.
Thomas, what is going on?
Did you know there's a gold and ivory rod that can control the dead?
I did not know. Was that in the book?
There's a lot of stuff in the book, but that was in the book, and it's here. Well, not here, there. And you can kind of hear him pointing. He's sitting up in the dark. There's no way you can see him. He's up in a dark tree, but he's there, and you can tell he's pointing at the Citadel.
Thomas, keep in mind that this book was made before the dead were kind of mechanized. So they would have this. You would have no knowledge if that actually tracks.
Do you know what percentage of all the people that have ever been alive are now dead?
I think it was about...
It's almost all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the percentage of those that have been turned into construct is microscopically small.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah. So all the rest are mine. That's what I'm saying.
Thomas.
Yeah.
The thing is, you don't even know if that rod can actually do that.
You know how I find
Don't you-
out?
Yeah, I know you're gonna say to steal it. But
You
Thomas,
can hear
that's
the nodding from the tree. The whole tree's going creak, 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 creak. Yeah.
Thomas, you're not supposed to steal anything.
I know.
Stealing's not good.
That's why I'm waiting for my eyes to adjust so I can sneak in and do it without getting caught.
No. Doesn't matter if you get caught or not. You're not supposed to steal.
No, I read it. I read it. If you don't get caught, it's not illegal.
Technically, yeah, he's right. But I can't fault you on that logic. That is pretty sound logic. But there is always the possibility of getting caught. And then you won't be able to steal anything else if you're caught.
So help me.
How about this?
That's a no.
No. It's a partial no. Okay. How about I first, before you do something, make sure to research your mark. Okay. You have to research it first.
I did. All day today.
Right. Yes.
I know exactly which window I need to go in. I know when the
Okay.
guards go by.
Okay.
I got a stick.
Have you thought of like shift changes for the guards? Have you thought of like perhaps like what are the variables there?
Oh, what I figured was this spray that I made. If anybody gets too close, I'll just shoot that in their face.
Right, but then they know who you are.
Oh, no. It burns. You can't see for like days.
Right, but they have to be close and they can see you when they're getting closer.
Which is why I'm waiting for my eyes to adjust in the dark so I can see them first.
Right, but if your eyes are adjusted, so are theirs probably.
They're the guard. They've been inside.
Right, they might have some. Do they have any guards outside?
They come out, they go around, they go back in. There's no way they got time. I timed it. There's no way their eyes adjust. You can kind of
How many
tell by the
seconds
way
do you
they're
have?
walking, all stilty.
All right, you timed it. How many seconds do you have?
I got 63 seconds, 63 heartbeats, calm heartbeats, to get from the trees over the fence in the window.
Trees with a fence into the window. And you're positive that this window is open and unlocked.
No, that's why I have a stick.
You're going to try to jimmy the window open silently with no prior knowledge on how to do that.
Makes you think I have no prior knowledge?
I'm assuming you don't.
That would be a false assumption. I
wait a
have
second,
broken
aren't
into
you,
so
like-
many places.
You're making really good points here. That's hard to argue.
And you know what? My eyes are almost adjusted.
Hold on. Just wait a second. How about this? I'll ask my friends from the Citadel to see if they know anything about this rod. That way, if they there might be an easier way to go about this. Don't always go to the hasty solution, okay?
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe I can get it up for a quick seize of equipment, you know.
Sure. Okay. Just tell me when, okay?
All right. You want to come down from there?
No.
All right. Guess I'm going to go inside and take the book then. I'm going to start walking towards the house.
Okay. Nope. I'm not playing with cards. I gotta die to decide, but I didn't really need to roll that anyway. Yeah,
Okay,
as you walk towards the house, yeah, you hear okay, and you hear the tree moving as he jumps from the tree to the fence and out into the city.
Shit. As he's going out to the city. How fast do I think I can make it upstairs?
He's gone either way.
I
The
know.
length of time that you went, he's gone.
I know.
Upstairs
how you
to
have
his
time?
room, 30 seconds. It's not that far.
Okay. Shit. Okay. And I know exactly where he's going.
Yep.
The Citadel. How far will it take me? How far will it take me to get to the Citadel?
I guess the real question is, can you outrun a 17-year-old on a mission?
I think
17 now?
A mission of chaos.
Oh no, sorry. Teen, yeah, so
I
16,
thought
17.
I thought he was like 12
No,
or
I
13.
thought he
Is
was
he?
like
It was like-
13.
Was he? Okay.
I thought
Can
he
you
was-
he
can,
was that
can you
young.
outrun a lanky 13-year-old?
I think Kois can, especially
In the
with
dark.
his knowledge of the city.
Well, let's do a test then. This
Sure,
very
sure.
much seems like a test, and this
I'm
is very
gonna-
much a physical test. This is diamonds all the way, baby. This is athletics.
Okay.
What do you
This
got?
kid.
I saw that regret.
I'm gonna do.
Too bad you don't know anybody with tireless athletics. Shucks.
I'm gonna do 2 successes,
Okay, so that's
2
an-
diamonds,
Yep.
and a 6 of spades.
Absolutely, 2 successes. You tear ass through the city of Florence. It's that scene in the movie of Bruce Willis, bless his poor demented mind, charging through the mall, knocking people out of the way. That scene, that's you through Florence right now, just like just bulling your way through militia all the way. Right? It's it's short and fast. You bolt there, like you're huffing and puffing. Your vision's coming down. You're starting to wheeze. You're starting to feel every month of your years at this point. By the time you crash up close to inside of the Citadel, he didn't explain to you where he was, but you can see he's not on the front, which is good because it's very brightly lit.
Yeah.
You start sort of scooting around. Now, do you go inside the property and scoot around the building, or do you say outside the fence and scoot around the building?
Would I be allowed to be like just normally, or would I have to make up something reason
The
as to why I'm
gates,
there?
the gates open, and the main floor foyer never closes. So, being here, not so much. Running around looking for somebody in the dark, that might require some explaining.
Okay. If I stay on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
it's less easier, less harder for me to get spotted myself.
Yep.
However, it'd be harder to find the kid.
Yep.
But if I go on the inside and I start running around, I'm gonna have to explain some things.
So you're standing, doing this in your head, and
Did
you
he
hear,
explain?
and you hear an alarm go off in the Citadel.
That kid.
Sid and Delilah.
Right.
I know a lot of people are spending a lot of time sitting still listening. I hope it's worth the story, listening to the story for the waits. But Sid and Delilah, there's the dog standing on that little stupid ornamental bridge, looking over at you, just looking dumb happy, just like Basset Hound levels of happy. Just, I'm not even past.
Sid looks to Delilah. Do you remember the dog's name? Because I don't. You're muted.
Even our note takers.
Do I remember the dog's name, Kevin?
I don't believe that the dog's name
I don't
has
think you
ever been mentioned. It's just
I didn't-
Stacy's dog.
I
Yep.
didn't think so. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Sid's
you don't know
gonna
what to
get-
call it.
Sid's gonna get down on, sort of crouch down. He's like, "Come here, boy. Come here. Come here." You know, just kind of like motioning to the dog. Don't you want pets?
He looks back over his shoulder to the village behind him.
Delilah,
Yeah.
Delilah's gonna take a few steps forward beyond Sid.
Yeah.
And she's going to try to be like really calm and really welcoming,
Yeah.
and really kind.
Mhm.
And she's just going to give like a light whistle
Yep.
that kind of imitates the one that she heard.
Charisma? Charisma roll, you think?
Okay.
Empathy, maybe? Have you got any of those?
I can do empathy.
Okay. So you try to be at one with the dog. Give us a play.
2
so that
successes.
is in hearts. Yeah. 2 successes, 2 hearts. All right. So.
Two.
Yeah.
1
Wasn't it?
heart and 1 diamond.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's the glare's a
But
little
it
tough.
makes 8.
I love those cards, the Monty Python cards. That's
Here
wonderful.
we go.
Yeah. 8. Yes, perfect. Okay, so yes, 2 success. 2 successes? Yeah. Okay. You
We might have lost Chris. No.
I think the camera's
They're
just
back?
jittering. I think.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good now?
That's okay. As long as we can hear you, we're good. The camera will come back. Doesn't matter. But yeah, the dog sort of comes down the bridge. There you are. You're back. He comes down the bridge towards you and stops. Still, just that dog thing where they're just far enough away that you can't touch them. And then he started.
Go scoop them.
And then he turn. You could try, but what he does is when he gets that close, he kind of turns and tries to lead you. Oh, they're gone now. So, that's going to screw up our cameras, but I know they're going to be back in a second, so we're going to leave that. Look at that. Look how fast that was. It might be in the wrong spots now. No, I think. Let me know when they come back. No. Yeah, Coas and
Delilah.
Delilah. That's okay. Watch me
Oh,
fix
Hello,
this.
Governor.
Bang. Fixed. There you go. Fixed. Look at me go. All right. Yeah, it comes towards you, and just as you reach for it, I'll give you, if you want to make a play to try and grab it, because it turns and does that thing where it's like Lassie trying to lead you to the boy that's fallen in the well.
Well, I
Like,
wanted to
huh?
reach out to like show it that I'm friendly.
Oh, yes,
I don't
yeah.
want to try and catch it.
Oh yeah, and it comes over and nip, 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 and then once it realizes you succeeded very dramatically on your roll. Once you realized how much or they realized how friendly you were, they're like, "Oh, you are a friend. You should come with me," and then trying to lead you back to the village.
She takes a look back at Sid, like, should she take the risk? But she's also like, we have to look for that shit for Verite anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably gonna have to go further into the port anyway. So she doesn't super wait for Sid. It's more like, I'm going, are you gonna come?
If there was
Yeah,
a thing,
Sid-
I will mention, if there was a thing called an assay office in here, and it was an office, it ain't here no more. Not as a standing structure. There are no standing structures
Yeah,
in
so,
here.
like,
So
If anyone has them, they
Mhm.
might be here
know.
with
Yeah.
these potential people.
yep.
So Delilah looks at Sid, kind of like, should we go? But also kind of like, I'm gonna go.
Yep.
Yeah. Sid does sort of take a second to stand up, and then he follows along, kind of keeping an eye out on the horizon, looking for other people.
Yeah.
Just kind of trying to figure out.
There isn't
this is safe.
anyone that you see. There's no one harvesting. There's no one walking their dog. There's no one working. Now, to be fair, there's no roads or anything like that. It's just the houses. They are the only apparent structures in this entire place. As you get closer and closer, you see there's about 24 of them. And again, they're not on
24 houses?
streets. They're just sort of this loose conglomeration of these roundhouses.
Yeah, Sid does a quick amount of math, and that's actually a fair amount of people.
Yeah, these about 10 meters across, 10 yards across, 30 feet ish. Oh my
Like
God.
4 or
That is
5
all the
people per
fucking fluff.
roundhouse.
Yeah,
Mhm.
minimum. Yeah.
There's a
But
sizable village here.
no one in sight, not one. The dog trots back across the bridge, looks at you again, and just kind of does a like, you guys are not getting this, and just goes into town and just walks into the first. They walk into the very first roundhouse, come out a couple seconds later with a piece of meat sticking out of their mouth. Hum, 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 hum. Go across the gap into the next one.
Yeah, they're.
Delilah's like, I get it now. And then she is going to go across the bridge.
Okay, Sid.
Yeah, Sid follows.
Follow behind. Yeah, Sid bravely bringing up the rear. So Delilah, you see it first. The dog's head comes back out again. It's just the roundhouse has just got like a canvas door hanging there. It's nice. It's a beautiful day, right? So there's no need to lock it up. It's just a canvas hanging there for basically for privacy. The dog kind of comes halfway out and looks at you, and then kind of tries to move the curtain out of the way to open it up.
She's going to knock on the like door frame
On the wattle. Thunk,
and just
thunk,
sort of
thunk.
say,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and sort of say, hello, is anyone home?
Oh my goodness, you mustn't be from here. Do come in. We don't knock, we just sort of rattle the curtain.
Oh, okay. Again, looks back at Sid like, I'm going in, but like, maybe back me up.
Yeah. Well, no, Sid definitely follows.
Yeah. You do have to duck a little bit to go in because of the way that they're built, right? You have to tuck under the turf and then you can stand up and go in the door, that turfed roof. As you step in, you see oh my God. You see this large space, but there's only at the moment one person in it. Right in the middle, there's the hearth, and it's burning away and boiling up some stew or some very tasteful, wonderful thing. But the person sitting on the other side, they're just wearing this sort of multicolored poncho that just covers them from the neck down and leaves a sort of shapeless mass with a sort of head protruding from it. Their hair is just wildly grown, and nails as well, kind of a little longer than you would expect when they come out from underneath the cloth. And they look up at you and said, "Oh, the dog seems to have found you. That's wonderful for all of us. If you don't mind me saying so," looking specifically at Delilah, very quickly at Sid, and then back at Delilah pointedly, "you're bringing a lot of stress in with you. I hope you don't mind." But they turn around and take like a little bundle of herbs and use the fire to light a little bit, and they're like cleansing the air, the room.
Oh my God. Delilah's very like looking around like, oh, okay. Never encountered this before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
Sid. Yeah.
Sid's equally perplexed, just sort of like watching her do it.
Yeah.
Like,
And they don't, it's the thing with that I want to make clear about this is it is clearly a ritual. They do but there's no words, there's no sort of expectation of magical results. They just sort of made the room smell nicer and then put it out and put it back down. So,
I'm very familiar with people like this.
yeah. So they'd look across at you again. "Oh, that is better." And as far as you can tell, it's just smokier and smells like sage. But they look across at you. Other than something to eat, what can I offer you? We don't often get visitors.
We were a couple of things. We came to retrieve the dog, actually. There's a very nice family who that dog belongs to, and they miss their dog. So that's mission number one. But we are also a little surprised. We assumed, wrongly, I guess, that there would be brick buildings here, abandoned buildings, a port.
Oh, that was all torn down. It was all the flow was terrible. Plus it was falling down and crushing and killing people. So there was many reasons.
Say just sort of
Okay.
like, okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
And she won't. But she will say, well, in light of that, were the interiors examined, pilfered, looted, confiscated, collected before the deconstruction?
We took absolutely everything that we wanted or needed, yes.
Did you take some metal samples?
Oh, you mean like those? And they point across the room, and in the far corner there's sort of again one bed. This whole huge place, one person. Right, like you said, a normal roundhouse this size would be 4 to 10. Right, this is one person lives in here, and way over by that bedding in the corner, there's a little cylinder about that big around and about that tall of a sort of aluminum-y colored metal. Just one cylinder.
That, I believe, would be one of them, yes.
Oh, yes, there's one in every house.
Okay,
Is there a reason for that?
yeah, what he said.
Oh, yes. Very good reason. Ritual.
Sid arches.
Sorry, I'm having time team flashbacks.
All of a sudden, this turned gray, and I was Francis Pryor, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Except that there's, I may not have emoted it properly. The word ritual is coming out of them. There is no sense of magic to it. It's the ritual that's important, not what it does or doesn't accomplish.
What sort of ritual?
It's partially about how many houses we're allowed to have, and partially so we know what to call each house. We move sometimes, and it's good to know that so-and-so lives in molybdenum. But there's also the physical reasons, the reasons that this attaches us to the earth that we're from. The symbolism, of course.
Sid,
Okay.
sort of another sidelong glance to Delilah.
Mm-hmm.
Just
so much fun throwing a mystic at the two scientists. I get to play some really cool NPCs in this game.
We, for the potential bettering of society, need those samples. Is there something we can do for you or
just the ones that
provide for you in exchange? A replacement, an improvement? I don't want to just take your things. I'm not a monster.
Well, we would resist that quite fiercely, I think. They're very important to us. Couldn't you do whatever you need to do here?
Sid just sort of peeks his head outside at all of the open nothing.
Yeah.
That might be a little difficult given the person we're trying to give it to. We need these samples for is to try and build a battery, a way to store power. the person we need to give them to, or the person who wants them, needs it for testing purposes. We just need the ones that conduct electricity. And my voice has completely changed.
That's so good. Maybe it's because it's the
Sit up
first
as
time you've
well.
had fresh air in your whole life, Sid.
Sit
You
up
lived
the
in
roaming accent.
London and then in Florence. This is the first time you've had fresh air in your lungs. Change your accent. It's amazing. Must be in Wales. A call back to a one shot nobody watched. The werewolf in the
Vampire.
strange I decided because I couldn't do a Welsh accent that the beer changed everybody who lived there's accent every sentence that they spoke, so I did that instead. So accent notwithstanding, the they kind of look over at you and that sounds a lot like tech talk. In case you haven't noticed, and they kind of just slow scan, even though you're inside the building, you could see them slow scanning the entire port that you just walked through. There's nothing higher tech in this place than a frickin' fire.
Did they say frickin'?
No, that's me. That's Kevin telling you. Yeah. There's not even a cart. There's not even a visible wheel outside. Yeah.
Luddites.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond.
Well, since you've got no use for it other than the ritual, which you could just easily use numbers, don't understand. Anyway, you've no use for them, no physical use for them. We do. We'd like to help. And the accent changed again.
Yeah.
We'd like to help in exchange, try and figure something out that we can do for you. I'm an engineer. I build things. I fix things.
If you would like to do something for us, I think the best thing you could do would be to leave. We have built all the things we need built here. And there's
Sid
just
does
a
not
hint of loss of patience creeping in as you're suggesting changing their entire way of living.
Do you? Is it accurate to think that you use a barter system?
Generally speaking, if someone has something and someone needs it, it is simply freely given.
Then why do you not freely give us these samples?
Because we need them for our rituals.
We need them to save the
Rituals.
world.
We're not particularly interested in the world.
Are you interested in your descendants? Your existence?
We're not interested in a stranger live in it.
We've made this very small part of it quite nice, don't you think? That would be
Could be
spoiled
nice.
if there were too many of us in this small space.
I think it's just like one bad storm, this place will go down.
Can I? God, I don't want to get mean.
Stealing from the Luddites. Oh, you gotta to
Like, they
complete your
literally
mission.
live
You
on a
have to
floodplain.
steal from the mystics. Oh,
No,
I am such an ass.
Delilah.
Well, in that case, if you guys, I can see you both like just sweating, thinking. So we will cut away.
No, I have.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
an approach.
Okay.
Give me
Yeah.
a damn second.
I ain't
Don't
done here.
underestimate.
I ain't done here. Okay.
Delilah has 2 levels to this
Yep.
process.
Mm-hmm.
First level is a question.
Yep.
It starts with a question. Does the Citadel know that you exist here?
I don't know. But I don't think they'd care if they did. We offer no threat.
They don't care if you're a threat or not.
We turn our bodies in just like everyone else. It seems to be all they care about.
If you have all the samples, then I presume you have gold and silver. And copper.
Yes.
Those are significantly sized. If the government knew that they existed here, and you were holding them back, I think you know how much trouble you would be in. Especially the silver.
There's a pause, and there is this nasty little grin is on their face. You could see them fighting the urge to be mean, right? They're trying to be a good hippie here, but they're losing the battle.
Oh, by the way,
Mhm.
we don't need the silver or the gold. We only need the what? We only need a couple. Use some rocks for a while. Oh, like it said, numbers.
I cannot speak for the others. You will have to speak to each of them individually. But I, for one, have no problem if you wish to run tests on this object, but it does not leave this hut. Feel free to bring your technology in. I've got enough sage to deal with it after you leave. But it does not leave this hut.
Okay, phase 2.
Sid's thinking, I'm going to have to build a wagon for the midget, aren't I?
Phase 2, she is going to open up her. She's going to say, okay, one moment. And then she's going to open up her med bag to sort of pretend that she's looking for something. And obviously her apron is like a large piece of fabric, so she's going to set it to the side. And she brought her fancy apron.
Yep.
I mean, most of her aprons are her fancy aprons.
Yeah. But yeah, you specifically had the brand new shiny whiny one, so yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so she makes sure that it is well known that she is highly connected.
Yeah.
And it is a thinly veiled threat.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a gun.
Yeah.
It's saying, I will bring technology to you if you do not let us use what you have.
Yep.
I don't know if Sid would get that. Hold on, let me roll a die here. He would catch that, and he doesn't approve. He didn't want to step on any toes. You know, despite everything, these people are literally harmless. There's no safety risk.
I didn't want to steal from them.
So
what do you think would make them hate us more, stealing from them pressuring them?
I get to do that. I get to do this then. Is this conversation in character? And if so, have you stepped outside?
No,
it's all thoughts.
This is player to player.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely thoughts. On
I mean,
point. Like,
is
you
threatening
get an
them
arched eyebrow, but that's all he'd really let out.
Isn't threatening them just dealing with extra steps?
He's learning from his mentor, or who's the mentor in this relationship. Wait a minute, is it him or the nasty kid in the tree? But I just saw the time, so we are going to leave Sid and Delilah at that moment where they kind of turn to look at each other and go, huh? That's where the camera drops on that scene. So, because we have to get back to these two. Coes, yep. Yeah, the alarm's gone off around the back.
I would say go for Artemis first because it's been longer since she's gone. No, it's okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Then the alarm is going off in the back.
Yep.
I'm going to make my way to the back, coming from. I'll be inside.
Inside.
Like,
So you go inside, start making your way around the back. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, this isn't going to take long. You kind of, you tell me. Walk, run, sneak. How do you get around the back?
Really hope Coas is the one that catches this kid, because otherwise he's in so much shit.
I will be fast. I'd be like doing a brisk jog as if I'm
Okay.
like trying to see what's going on here.
Yep. So you come around the corner, around the back, and you can hear a lot of voices in the dark, and then the lanterns start coming on. Pung, 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 pung. They scan around the yard. They scan around your yard. They hit you. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 of them pinning you like with light.
My badge. What's going
You
on
hear,
here?
you hear voices. What are you doing back here?
And I'm pulling out my badge.
Hmm.
I had an alarm go off. What's going on here?
And in that split moment, you can see behind them, Thomas looks over at you and goes, and walks over to the window, and then you see him. He doesn't even use his stick. He just pushes and gets the lock to disengage. Like, he's just stunningly skilled. It just click, and the window opens, and he lifts it up. He goes inside. He closes it again, looks at you through the closed window, and goes, and then pulls the curtains.
Yeah, as he does that, I'm gonna be going like with the thumbs.
Yeah.
Thumbs up like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Like,
What's
okay.
going on?
And then meanwhile, the guards look at you look quickly again. Like, they look around. By the time they look, he's gone. Okay. Well, you take that wing. Did you see anything on the way in? Tell me after. Look at that wing. And they take off in the other direction.
All right, and then I'm gonna go take off and take a reasonable amount of time.
Yep.
But I'm gonna keep eyesight of the window, as in I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna start actually searching for nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep sight of that window.
Okay. Yeah. Every couple of minutes, the guards come around again. 3 or 4 times around, they shut off the alarm. We looked inside too. We don't know what happened. Maybe it was a dog or something. But
Must have been the wind.
Didn't see anything on my end. What would trigger that alarm?
someone either comes in over the fence, and they point to the top of the fence around the citadel. They don't explain any more than that. Just somebody comes over the fence, or through one of the locked gates, or breaks or opens a window.
Okay. All right. And all the windows are locked, open, closed. What's the status of all the windows?
Everything's closed. We found a jacket just on top of the wall, so maybe that was it.
Ah. All right. Do you have it on you, or should I go get it? Where is this?
We pulled it down with a stick. Yeah, Joey's got it, and Joey reaches around and hands you this shitty-looking, beat-up old leather jacket.
Does it say any initials or anything on it?
Nope. What it does, what I will give you though, is it's shit kicked. This is not a wearable jacket.
Ah, I see what the kid did. Nice one.
There were a list of things that set off the alarms, but if the alarm's going off, doing a second or third thing on the list does not reset the alarm.
Mm-hmm.
So opening the window didn't set the alarms off. This jacket on the fence did.
Never seen it
This
around
kid's
town.
brilliant, and he lives in here. It's freaky.
Has he come out? Has he come out through the window yet?
How long do you want to watch for?
While I'm still keeping an eye on the window as we're having this conversation.
Okay.
But I've been kind of trying to every 5 seconds look.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it. It's 9 minutes. before anything happens. And when I say anything happens, I mean the fire starts at the other end of the citadel. And another alarm starts to go off.
I'm gonna wait right by the window.
Mm-hmm.
As everyone else kind of raises back, I'm gonna wait right by the window.
So you just started leaning by the window. And in the darkness, a couple minutes later, you hear, what kind of idiot would come out the same window they went in? Hey, how you doing?
Do I see him?
You see, he steps out of the darkness so you can actually see him. He's got this wooden box in his hand, looks like a pool cue box, but it's got 2 handles on it, and he's holding it with 2 hands. Like, it's heavy.
How are you gonna get it out?
Through the gate. The alarm's already going off.
Here.
These guys are such idiots, you can fall for the same trick twice, and he starts to head towards the gate.
Yeah, here, let me help you. And I'm gonna...
He looks at you and says, 34 more seconds?
Right. Gonna grab it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna wrestle it from him?
Okay. I'm gonna offer you a nasty choice, and then we're gonna leave you hanging on it for a whole week. You can wrestle this kid for this item and almost certainly get caught. Or you can let him go with it and follow him out, and neither one of you gets caught.
Okay,
I'll leave you that choice. Artemis.
Yes.
What have we got going with you at the moment? I completely forgot. It's been so long. It's been like an hour. Sorry.
So Verite was gonna show her and Carol about his figures.
Yes. He says, okay, so, and he stops like this is the first time this has ever occurred to him. We probably shouldn't do it in here. It's kind of stinky and hot.
Well, I have a backyard. It's fenced in.
Okay, perfect. And he opens up the chess set and grabs all the chess pieces and just like a cluster in his hand and starts heading towards the backyard.
She expected more resistance from him.
Almost, yeah, well, he's good until the door opens.
Yeah.
And then it's just, he can't help looking up. There's no roof. Like there's nothing above. And every time he looks up, he just gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And he's just shaking, and he starts to back into the house. He just starts rocking. And then he just bolts out into the yard, and he's crouched down, like almost in a crouching fetal position. He hasn't fallen over, but he's just in the middle of the yard with all this stuff in his hands, just shaking. Light the fire, light the fire, light the fire.
Verite, do you want to do it inside with windows open?
Nope, I'm out here now. Let's do this. Let's do it. Light the fire. I'm just looking at the ground.
Okay, and she'll do it.
So you fire up your little backyard forge, because you're an artist who does metalwork, so of course you have one. They take all those little metal pieces and melt them in a pot. And it's like this weird, you can see it's an alloy. He keeps having to stir it to keep it together. It's silver and something else, and you're not quite sure what that other thing is. Mm-hmm. And while he's doing that, he starts picking at his shirt. Just picking. And at first you think maybe it's just a nervous thing. And then you realize he's working out a thread. And he works out a thread about that long. And he looks in, and it's starting to boil, and he takes the thread and dips it and takes it back out. Now, any normal thread, that would have burned the thread. Turns out this is asbestos. So he goes boop, and it comes back out. It's just this coating on the thread. And he holds it. And then he grabs the top, and with the most intense concentration starts to wiggle that thread out like a millimeter at a time with each wiggle. Then it comes out, and he lays that piece down on there. You got to bend them before they get cold, and you see him just going with like just his pinkies and apply pressure to both ends, and forms this nice little curve. And you can just see the fixation. This is bare hands. There's no tools. And he looks up at you and he says, so 246 more and we can build a knight.
That's very detailed work.
Can I go in now?
Yes, you can go in now.
And he never does stand up. He just kind of shuffles back inside. And once he's inside, you see him as he's heading down the hall. It's like a reverse perspective thing. Like the hall looks like it's getting smaller, and he keeps standing up, so he keeps getting bigger as he's heading away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And you look down at this one little hollow tube, and behind you, Carol just says, "Fuck."
And she'll kind of look at Carol. Incredible, isn't it?
I want to see him do the joints. And she kind of turns and looks. And for the first time, you see a look in her eyes that you've seen in his since he saw her. She's finally realized he's kind of cute in a weird sort of Gollum-y sort of way.
Carol, you didn't get into too much trouble the other day, did you? With your parents?
That depends. They threatened to send me to a nunnery.
Because you were late or because you were doing art?
'Cause I came home smelling like hot metal and melted wires. 'Cause I'm stupid and I didn't think.
You're not stupid.
I didn't think.
You're a kid.
That didn't help.
Who are your parents, Carol?
My dad's a builder. And the way they say it, it's like capital A, capital B, builder. Yeah, a builder. One of the builders, yeah.
Wow. That's pressure. And he doesn't want you to build things.
Nope. He says it's all politics now.
Well, that's boring. And your mom?
And there's a long pause before I don't know.
You don't know?
She's just kind of there. It's always Dad that takes care of that stuff.
Well, there's two ways to look at this situation then. One is, if it would help, I go over and talk with them. And she kind of is looking at her like she's not going to do it without like
the look
her,
of
like
terror, just like
like
unspeakable terror. Yeah.
If you think it would help, if not, I will not do it. I don't want to put you in danger. The other part we could do is, this is a decent sized house, and while I have one guest already, I could clear out a room for you.
And it's just like you're being hugged. It's like magnetic attraction. You're just being hugged now. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked.
It's okay. But there probably will be a time where confronting your parents, either by me or by you or both, will happen. They will notice you're missing.
I can keep popping back a couple times. I don't pay that much attention really, as long as I behave. What does this mean? And she pulls up the sleeve of her shirt, and there's a tattoo on her arm. She says, my mom did it.
What is the tattoo of?
You just got electrical something or other as your new skill, right? When you upgraded?
Yes.
Yeah. It is a color-banded diode. I don't know if you've ever seen them in real life. It just looks like a kind of a lozenge with a wire out of each end, but there's different colored bands on it, and you can tell what it does and what it its power and shit by the colored bands. There's one of those tattooed on, let's put it in here so it's kind of easier to hide, here on her arm. And she says her mom did it. So her mom is a tattoo artist who understands the color coding on diodes. But she doesn't know much about her mom.
She doesn't know much about her mom. Assumedly. And this
Look
isn't like a...
Look at Chris's lips.
Well, it's like, I know what it is. I'm just kind of think this isn't like a system within the society, right? This isn't like something that...
No, it's not. It's not a. Yeah. Oh, nice thought. But no, it's not like the symbol for a magical group or a secret society.
Yeah,
no.
like some kind of, I don't know.
It is.
I don't know what it would be, but...
Yeah, it is blatant knowledge. What it is blatant knowledge of the old ways. Like, to understand that the color coding is important, to understand this, like, everything about it.
But also, it would suggest her mother is, in her own way, an artist.
And directly and 180% in many ways opposed to her, the builder husband. Yes, that is the house this child is coming from.
That is very interesting. And it sounds like you and your mom might have more in common than you think.
And she just kind of...
That's art.
She said it means something.
Yeah.
You want to read the code? You know it? You know it. You got. I'll give it to you. You don't even make you need to make a play.
Sure.
The color coding on it, when you look, doesn't make sense as an explanation of a diode. It's not like it doesn't. It isn't 47,200 or whatever the result should be. The color coding reads 404.
And they might not know the significance of that necessarily, but like...
I mean, like, it's only been like it's 30 to 40 years since the fall.
That's
so
true, yeah.
Yeah, blue screen of death. Some things are eternal, right? 404 error, at least as an error, or as if nothing else, as a meme, right? 404 blank not found is certainly going to have survived at this point.
Artemis, I think, is just trying to think of like if she knew it, which was my question, but like how to best phrase it so it's not like, I'm not saying your mom is saying you are an error.
Let me give you 2 more bits of information then. Normally diodes are a solid color. This one's actually multiple colored underneath. In fact, it's green and brown, but about 70% blue. 404, world not found.
And she'll look at Carol. Well, it's a bit unique. It's not a typical diode. I think in her own way, your mom was trying to leave you with something. A piece of what used to be here.
And the finger goes over it again. She looks up at you and she says, what does 404 mean?
It's an old code. It was an old code electronics used. It kind of was like an error. A certain program with an electronic couldn't be found. So instead of opening up something that wasn't what you were asking for, it would open up 404.
Mom said it's about loss.
That would make sense. If she was looking at the world that was, and that isn't around now, it would be about loss. It would be about seeing what we've become out of necessity and what was created by the builders, and maybe seen as a step backward. Whereas technosophers and people who are exploring other options are looking at what was and how to make them work again, and what you can learn from that.
When you said technosophers, they picked up that little bit, that little metal tubing. It's cooled now, so it's hardened and it's in this perfect little shape. And they kind of put it on their arm next to the tattoo and look at it for a little bit and put it back down. They look up at you. Can we rescue my mom? And that's where I'm going to drop the curtain on tonight. That way everybody's got something to think about for a week. Oh, okay. Officially.
Dun, dun, dun.
Officially. Always split the party, never split the party. Do what's right for the story. There. I hope everybody was okay tonight with the limited time some of you got. I think we told an amazing story tonight, and thank you all for waiting for your bits to come up. Whew, what a tale we wove this evening. Thank yous are in order. Thank you so much to Bison_Stonefist. Thank you so much to Thunderscape7/Robin. Thank you so much to Wayward Knight. And thank you so much to Phil. Oh, you guys are amazing. I know you're all like long-term experts at this now, but it is difficult to stream a character in front of people, knowing that people are watching. It is hard to do. So thank you for bearing your souls and being passionate about your characters and just living this game with me. I'm absolutely loving it. Thank you. Thank you to chat. Those of you that popped in, I appreciate it very, very much. We didn't give you much to laugh about tonight. There was a little bit, but not a lot. But this is a little more serious episode than most. But thank you so much for joining in and for sticking around. Thank you also to the people watching this on YouTube. If you watched all the way to here, please hit the like button, because we're going to assume you did. Or you've just had it on in the background, in which case come and watch another one. Put it at 1.5 speed. Watch 4 or 5. And hit the like button on all of them. But with all of those out of the way, the important bit is at hand. These guys have all got a week to think about the answers to their questions. But until then, in the real world, please be nice to each other. Good night.
Bye.